Hold on to your hammers and grab your space goats. Mighty Thor is gonna get fucking crazy. What's up, everybody? I'm Stan, and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. This is iRate Reviews, the show where I go over a comic book, its story, its art, give you my impressions, and let you know whether it's something you should go back to the comic book shop for or not. Make sure you subscribe to get more of these every single week. The comic that I want to talk about right now is The Mighty Thor number 705, and this is the culmination, it's the finality. This is a story that started in 2014, 2015. It's been going on for years. We're almost half a decade into it, and we finally get the conclusion that was inevitable. It was the thing that had to happen, and we want to see if Jane Foster goes out in an epic way, and I don't think we're going to be disappointed. So let's dive in and see how she goes down in a blaze of glory. Here it is, the moment we've all been waiting for, Mighty Thor number 705, as Jane Foster rides the lightning to her doom. However, we don't necessarily open up with Jane Foster fighting the Mangog like we ended the previous issue with. Instead, we actually see her claiming the hammer. There's a very earnest conversation between her and Heimdall that shows that he cares about her well-being and what she's going to be putting herself through. She's a senator of Asgard. She's somebody that's revered, and she shouldn't be taking unnecessary risks. However, this does not appear to be a risk. She's called by this hammer. She's called by the power of Mjolnir to come, claim it, and become Thor. There must always be a Thor. And that's where we jump right back into the action, and we've got Jane Foster smashing the Mangog up into its face. It looks like a tooth went flying. There's just blood and fire, and there's just chaos. There's just visual chaos that's of immense proportions. She smashes the Mangog back into a giant golden statue of Odin. She uses her lightning to melt it and tries to encase it in it. And it's not going to hold him forever, but it is going to hold him. And that's when she has the opportunity to talk to Odin, to talk to Freya, to go over these kind of things. Odin, even though she's there rescuing him, saving his busted ass, he still calls Jane Foster's Thor the Thief of Hammers. You got Lady Freya, who's gotta take the role of responsibility. While Odin would stand there and die fighting against the Mangog, Freya is going to take the people, and then Thor comes busting and he's like, no, what are you doing here? Because he knows that it's Jane. He knows that she gave up her life to come save the Asgardians, to come fight against the Mangog, to finish this final threat. And as the Mangog explodes from his golden prison, we see Jane saying, you know, take them and go. Tell the Asgardians it's time they earn the gifts that they've been given, as the Mangog smashes into her and they continue this brutal, all-out bloody battle. So we see the Asgardians readying, going to the boats, trying to escape, make their way away from this giant chaotic piece as Jane Foster's Thor goes and tries to destroy the Mangog. And the Mangog is talking about the history. He's talking about the history of Jane Foster, how she's hated the gods, how she's never revered the gods. She doesn't care about the gods. The best thing for her to do is just to let him do his business. Stand back, watch from the sidelines. He'll take care of the dirty work. She doesn't have to worry about getting blood on her hands. That's the possibility. That's what she can do. And while she admits that she's hated the gods, it's not something that's in her nature. She is there to save people when they don't deserve to be saved, just like the Asgardians have saved Earth when it doesn't deserve to be saved. It's not necessarily about who's worthy at this point in time. It's about doing the right thing for the sake of doing the right thing. And the Mangog just doesn't understand. He doesn't get it. It was like, why would you die for the gods? And she's like, I don't die for the gods. She dies for love, as she just throws this lightning uppercut filled with memories. And Russell Dauterman. Let's just talk about Russell Dauterman for the first few pages of this. The first 8 pages of Mighty Thor number 705 are just this cacophony of chaos and fire and brilliance. The colors are amazing. Dauterman's art is absolutely fantastic. I am enamored with the entire portrayal of this fight sequence and the characters. And then when you talk about the actual colors, the colorist that's working on this book has just gone above and beyond. When you throw in the lettering of your crackhooms and all those kind of sound effects, but also the tone of the lightning, the tone, the grittiness, the grunginess, the dirtiness of this entire environment. It feels like a battle that's fought with the final essence, the most down-to-earth piece of combat that you can have on a floating city that's headed towards the sun. It's just absolutely amazing. But things don't necessarily stop there. As she tries to throw the Mangog into the sun, she doesn't necessarily succeed, as it comes busting back, blowing apart the ships of the Asgardians, leaving them floating in space. So Thor still knows that Jane Foster's doomed in this respect. He calls on Tooth Grinder so that way he can make his way over to the Mangog, and he comes in. Jane's not gonna die alone because she's gonna fucking punch the Mangog right in the face and unleash some lightning into its skull. And then Thor comes in with Yarnbjorn and just starts hacking off different pieces of the Mangog, and it's just like nothing can stop. It's like, oh, okay, well we're gonna figure that out, because the Mangog is still monologuing. He still thinks that he's got the upper hand. It's just like, no gods in all the heavens, no Allfathers, no Allmothers, no sword, no axe, no hammer, no magic, no thunder, no Thor is going to destroy me. And that's where Jane's like, yeah, you're totally right. I believe you. No Thor is going to destroy you. However, these chains were forged to hold Fenris Wolf until the coming of Ragnarok, and let's see if they're going to hold you. So she ties the chains to Mjolnir. Mjolnir wraps the chains around the Mangog, tries to bind the Mangog until she whispers to the hammer and says, "Fly, my friend, fly like the mighty storm you are," and casts Mjolnir and the Mangog into the sun, where we see this explosion, this death of the current iteration of Mjolnir. Mjolnir is no more, and hopefully that's the truth for the Mangog as well. Thor is overcome with emotions. He doesn't necessarily know exactly how to express himself in this respect. He actually screams the loudest about the killing of Mjolnir, and you'd understand why, because Mjolnir has been one of the closest people, or the closest items, the closest things, one of the things that he's revered as a child, one of the things that he grew and became worthy of. He just saw the destruction of something that he identified with himself for so long. He also immediately goes to, the death of actual Jane Foster and how she just killed herself with that process, how she's going to change back, how she's not going to survive, how things are going to happen, and he's just lost for words in that respect. And Jane just says, "You don't have to say anything, just say goodbye," as they fierily kiss inside the destructive core of Asgard, headed into the sun of Earth's solar system. And this great mixture of Jane Foster Thor and Jane Foster Cancer not survivor. And as Freya and Odin stand on the moon, Odin feeling the chill of death, Freya's face streaming with tears, you hear the Thum and you think that it might be the Mangog, but in reality it's Odin's son bringing the body of Jane Foster back to the moon so that way she can be sent out in style. And that's where we're going to pick up in 706. So when you're talking about Jason Aaron, this is a story that started out in Original Sin and way back in Gods of Thunder, and this is carried forward until we're here now, and this is the conclusion of Jane Foster's story arc. Her story started in 2015, and it ends in 2018. That's 3 years that we got of this great storytelling of this person stricken with cancer that is going to take up the power, and then ultimately it's a great lesson in dying on your own terms, or going out in your own terms. It's not necessarily about the expectations of somebody on you and what you're dealing with. It's more about how you want to see yourself, how you want to be yourself, and what you need to do in order to kind of be true to who you are. And she was not going to lie in some bed and fight cancer. She was going to fight on her own terms and die like the god that she was, at least for a moment. So Russell Dodderman did a fantastic job when it comes to the art on this book. The style is fantastic. The color is just mind-blowing. It's very cosmic. It's fantastic as well. But what it comes down to is the message and the lesson gives us a very fitting and earned end to Jane Foster's Thor. But I want to know what you guys think too, so hit me up in the comments down below so we can start that conversation. As always, if you like what you see, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to get more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, comic book movies, comic book TV shows and games, and anything and everything inside the world of comics.